I know you're a fan of creatine.
Yeah.
Creatine for women.
Yeah. Abby Smith Ryan is my goddess of all nutrition research. So she's done a ton on creatine. And so, here's the way Mary Claire approaches the problem. I'm like, okay, osteoporosis, what are we doing? What are we doing for prevention? We know to give her all these meds and they are horrible side effects, whatever, but it will help her bones. But why are we waiting till we get to where she's broken? What do we do for prevention? So that's where I'm reading up on all the exercises and the weighted vest. And creatine, turns out, when it combines with resistance training, has an additive effect for muscles. Now, just taking creatine will not grow bone. Okay, I never said that. But when you combine creatine with resistance training, it has an additive effect on bone strength and muscle strength. Amazing. It's very well tolerated. It's very inexpensive. I formulate it myself, and we have it for, in our clinic. And, it's flavorless, tasteless, so easy to mix in anything. And, once you get past the initial little GI part, it causes some bloating when you first start it. You push through that, it's really great. And it just does so many wonderful things. It works at we know it works for muscle and bone, but it works at the level of the mitochondria, making them work better, stronger, faster. So brain health looks really good. We have multiple benefits of creatine. Our creatine stores decline as we age. And so we're just trying to get our stores back up to normal and maintain them.
And also, even if you're not exercising, it's still good for mental health as a supplement. It's still good for brain health. It's still good for mitochondrial function. I mean, I haven't, because of my back surgery, I haven't been able to work out I'm going on now 2 weeks, and I still take creatine every day.
Mm-hmm. Don't let your stores drop.
Don't want the store. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It just seems that its safety record and its efficacy record it goes back
great.
Decades.
And people have devoted their lives to this, and the data is all great. Worst thing they can say is, it didn't help that much. I'm like, I'll take it in anything. People are like, what's your secret? What do you do? I'm like, I do everything. There's not one thing. There's no quick fix in aging and menopause. I literally do everything that reads and is positive. I'm going to talk about recommending it or what it might be helpful for.
Yeah. A question that I often get from my female listeners is I'll talk about something like creatine, or I'll talk about the value, the convenience value of protein powder, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And the question that I often get is well, what brand do you recommend for women? And it's always such an interesting question to me, because I feel like, where did this come from that women need different
nutritional blocks
products as compared to men?
So
right?
Do we need a pink bottle of creatine? Yeah. Mine is blue. Creatine monohydrate is creatine monohydrate for men, for women, for whatever. So in a protein supplement, which I use myself because getting in that much protein is hard. So it's just literally a convenience thing for me as well. There's nothing special about it that makes it for a woman or a man. The package might be prettier, depending on who makes it.
You more for it.
Pay more for it. And so my team is coming up with a protein mixed with creatine. Just kill two birds with one stone product. That tastes good and is easy to throw in your berries. And I like to throw in flax and hemp and chia and get all my omegas and, anthocyanins and some probiotics. I'll throw in some yogurt in there. And it's the biggest bang for my buck for my breakfast in the morning.
Why hasn't anybody thought of that yet? I feel like that makes it's such a smart idea.
I don't know. I'm sure somebody's doing it. My husband runs the back end of that business. And so he's always on the phone with suppliers and coming up with ideas of, what would be convenient for patients. Women are just kind of coming around, at least in my world, to realizing how beneficial creatine can be. They've got the protein thing down and they're struggling, and I'm like, well, if we're going to do a protein supplement, can we throw some creatine in there and just make it easier for them? My husband's like, let me ask. So we go to the PhDs and make sure that the formulations will gel together and, and be shelf stable and all the things that we need to make it safe. And they're like, absolutely, this is amazing. So that's what we're coming out with.
Makes perfect sense. What dose do you typically recommend for
So at least 5 grams. 3, there are benefits at 3. And especially when she's first starting, I might say give 3 a couple of weeks just to decrease the bloating and some of the water retention. And then once you're past that, 5 a day for females seems to be where the benefits really start kicking in.
Yeah, I take 5 to 10, but I'm 185 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you a fan of collagen?
Yeah, I am. So again, I was going down the rabbit hole. This is a funnier story. So I was going down the rabbit hole for cellulite. Okay. So I was in the bathroom in a department store. I was in the dressing room, changing, putting on a bathing suit with my daughter in the room. And of course I turn around as like every woman in America, I disparage over my appearance. And I was like, over, my daughter says, your cellulite's not that ugly, mommy. And I was like, oh God, okay. So then I go home, being the doctor in type A, I was like, on PubMed, what can we do for cellulite appearance in women? And it said, oh, there's this study looking at a certain type of collagen, a bioactive collagen called Verisol. And they did a randomized control study on women. They measured the depth of the wrinkles. They looked at wrinkles and cellulite appearance, and they did all these really mathematical calculations on what it looked like. And they saw benefit. And I was like, where do I get this stuff? So then I Google, where do I find Verisol collagen? And I find this company called Sparkle. So I get online and I order it, and it's delicious. It's like lemonade flavor. It tastes great. And can I tell you, my cellulite looked amazing? Probably not, but I stopped thinking about it. And I was like, this looks great. But I thought my skin looked great, So it was pure vanity. So I ended up partnering with this company because I talk about it on social and people would buy it. So I ended up partnering with this company, and we make our own version of it. And then that same company that developed the Verisol developed a product called Fortibone, and they studied menopausal women with osteopenia and osteoporosis, tracked them for 5 years with bone density scans, and the only intervention they had, they weren't on MHT, hormone therapy, they weren't on any of the bone building medication, and all they did was give them this collagen every day to drink, and they saw improvements in their bone density. And I immediately called my husband and was like, I want this, and let's mix it in with the skin product, and we'll call it Skin and Bone, and that's what we did. And so I'm like, it's not going to hurt anything. Yes, it breaks down to component amino acids. I'll take it. And they saw improvements in bone density. I'm like, if it's helping when you're already losing bone mass at a significant rate, it's probably going to be preventative. So that's the next study I'd like to see.
Collagen breaks down into collagenous peptides. Like it doesn't fully deaminate to
the exact little tiny amino acids. Yeah. No, so it's breaking down because you see, you shouldn't be taking collagen, it's ridiculous, whatever. I'm like, listen, it's a source of protein. It's not exactly complete, but it's very close. And it's not going to hurt me. And these women who took it had better bones. I'm in.
Well, I just had back surgery where it involved cutting, into my bones in my back and my spine. And I've been going hard on collagen. I've been taking 20 grams of collagen a day deliberately, along with vitamin C, and my recovery's been, great so far. I've also been prioritizing bone-supporting nutrients like boron. I feel like most people are unfamiliar with boron.
Boron,
really important.
Vitamin D,
yeah, magnesium, zinc. What else? Vitamin K2.
Calcium's controversial. So there's dietary calcium, and then there's calcium supplements, which are two different things, and people don't realize that. So dietary calcium supplements are typically calcium carbonate or calcium citrate or calcium, usually calcium carbonate. And so when you look at people taking calcium supplements, it does not decrease their risk of an osteoporotic fracture. People who have high dietary calcium from food sources have lower osteoporotic fracture. That's that's the wrong supplement.
Interesting.
You need a dietary calcium supplement.
So it's just the wrong form?
It's the wrong form.
Wow.
Yeah, that most people are taking.
And also there's this idea.
And it causes kidney stones. And the cardiologists hate it because they feel like it calcifies the plaques faster when you supplement with the traditional supplements. I used to recommend, I was taught to tell people to take Tums or those calcium chews every day. And it does not decrease your risk of osteoporotic fracture. And it's probably giving them kidney stones.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And cardiovascular events.
Yeah. And so I'm like, just make sure you eat lots of food rich in calcium. Though there's a really sweet, I met them. These two young women, mom had early osteoporosis fracture. They read all the data on calcium, and they've come up with a dietary calcium supplement that's like made from I think it's dairy-based, calcium. And they've been able to extract it and I tasted it. It tastes delicious.
Well, apparently it's not necessarily that we are walking around deficient of calcium, but rather that the calcium is not being properly directed in our bodies. It's not being shepherded to the parts of our bodies that need it, and instead it's being deposited in soft tissues like our arteries and whatever. And vitamin K2, is apparently very good at, or that's one of its primary roles, is actually directing calcium in the body and keeping it out of places where it's not supposed to be, like soft tissues and things like that. It's all super interesting. Hey, if you liked that video, you need to check out this one here, and I'll see you there.